Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified in all that we do. We ask that we may know you, love you, and serve you as we enter this second week of Advent. Let us be filled with your Spirit and draw us closer to you during this special time and lead us to come to know you more and more each and every day. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, today's kind of an interesting day. The solemnity of the Immaculate Conception is always, there's another word. What's the word? Usually, there's the word, celebrated on the 8th of December, but the 8th of December was yesterday. Now, there's another little interesting story here that's a little tangent there. It has always been, or has been the rule for, I think maybe close to 20 years, that if a holy day of obligation falls on a Friday, a Saturday, or a Monday, then it's a holy day, but it's not a holy day of obligation. In other words, a holy day of obligation is you have to go to church that day. So, hypothetically, if the holy day of obligation was Wednesday, you would have to go to church on either the vigil for Saturday, the morning or the daily mass or the mass for the day on Sunday, and then on Wednesday for that particular week. Well, it just so happens that the today's solemnity, which is the Immaculate Conception, falled on a Sunday. So in that case, it would seem that we're not going to have that day. And then they said, no, it'll fall on Monday this year because it falls on Sunday. But Monday is one of those 3 days that it doesn't count. And the Vatican came out about 2 months ago and said, it counts. This whole thing where we don't have to go to mass on a holy day of obligation because it falls on a Friday, Saturday, or Monday is gone. So, and I used to announce that. I said, such and such a day is a solemnity. It's normally a holy day of obligation, but it falls on, we'll say, Monday, and therefore the American offices of the Catholic Church in heaven are closed that day. And people usually would laugh, as obviously I did. But the Vatican just came out about 2 months ago, maybe not quite that far, and said, no, that stops. So today is the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception. It's also, even though it falls on the 9th, usually following on the 8th, but the 8th was Sunday, it also is a holy day of obligation. Now, it's an important day, and as I always like to explain, because many people listen to us on WROL, which is a Christian radio station, not a Catholic radio station. We're not on Catholic radio. And so it's a Christian radio station that many people don't understand the Catholic relationship with Mary, and they think we worship Mary as a god, which, no, we don't. We look at Mary as the greatest of all saints, but we also understand, by going by what the Bible teaches, that Mary was born without sin. So this is what this is. This is the Immaculate Conception. And the reason for that, we have to understand, there's a couple things I'm going to talk about, is she's born without sin. Why is she born without sin? She's born without sin because she has to be the reverse of Eve. Everything about Jesus and Mary are the reverse of Adam and Eve. And just as Mary reverses Eve and Jesus reverses Adam, we see that this is important. So Mary gives birth to Jesus just as through Eve, Adam sins. You understand that? So we see all of that come together, which means Mary redeems also women. Now, that's an important consideration because many people will say, well, women have to suffer because of Eve's sin. But Mary reverses that. She redeems. So that's an important consideration as well. Well, there's something also we want to look at. And this is something that's really important for us as Catholics to understand. And obviously, I'm talking to a wider audience, but many Catholics don't understand what I'm about to teach you on the other side of the break. And many of the evangelicals and other Christians do. So we're going to talk about that, and it's very well voiced, it's very well portrayed in the understanding of the Immaculate Conception. The doctrine of the Immaculate Conception is one of the two declared infallible by the respective pope. And so they are the two. Everyone says, well, the Pope has that infallible teaching. Yeah, there's only been two of them in the entire history of the church. So this is one of them. The other one is the Assumption of Mary. So we look at those two things, and this is what we're celebrating today. We want to look at, on the other side of the break, we're going to look at something very significant of what it means for us today. In the meantime, you're listening to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL 950 AM, 100.3 FM, and you can also hear us on CatholicAudiomedia.com. We'll be right back. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and we're talking about this powerful message that comes to us in the whole story of the Immaculate Conception. And what I'm trying to say, and this is important because there are Catholics out there that believe that they have to work really hard in order to be saved. And if they don't work hard enough, the Lord is going to cast them into hell. And you see that online a lot, and you hear that from people. You have to work really hard. When I was on the Uncharted Catholic Man podcast, which we also played here, you'll notice this point that people say, when things get tough, you have to suck it up. And I said, we're not Marines. I'm a Navy veteran, and I that's not the way you talk to people. I have to suck it up when things get tough. No, we bring everything into prayer, and we ask the Lord for his grace and his prayer. Well, one of the things we want to look at in light of that is understand that the Immaculate Conception means that through God's grace, Mary was born without sin so that she could bring forth into the world Jesus. That's what we believe. We don't believe she is a god. We believe she is the greatest of all saints, and all saints are human. Always keep that in mind. And they're fully human, but they're not divine. As Jesus is fully human and fully divine, they are fully human, but not divine. So you need to understand that, and that describes Mary as well. But if we understand that God sent Mary filled with grace to help in what his plan of salvation for us is, then we always have to realize that God initiates, and, St. Thomas Aquinas will tell you this as well. Well, he won't tell it to you now until you get into heaven, but that's a different story. But he sends his grace so that she becomes this avenue of grace in order that she may bring forward Christ, but she herself is not a source of grace. Always keep that in mind. So she may bring forth Christ humanly into the world. Now, why is this important? And again, go back to what I said just about a minute ago. This whole idea, we have to work hard, and you have to do everything, and you have to do, and you have to be on your knees, and you have to be praying the rosary 3 times a day, and all this other stuff. I'll grant that these are exaggerations. Some of them, by the way, that you will hear are not. They are not. And you will hear this, and you go, no. That's not where the Lord is calling us. We want to be open to God's grace, and the sign that we have to be open to God's grace is, in fact, that the Lord is calling us, and he is initiating. We see an example. He initiates bringing forth Mary without sin, but it's his initiation. And Mary agrees when God sends the angel Gabriel his his initiation. He initiates, and he sends Gabriel, and he asks Mary, but he initiates. So anytime you hear people say that we have to fight this battle and we are all on our own and all, there is nothing in Catholic teaching that teaches that. And you got to get rid of it. I mean, literally, you have to get rid of it, because such people do not put an emphasis on prayer, and if they do, they don't put an emphasis on anything but rote prayer, generally, from what I can tell. Maybe I'm wrong. A rote prayer. Rote prayer is like the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and devotional prayers and all. Rote prayer. No, we're called, as St. Alphonsus Liguori says, we're called to talk to God as a good friend. Regardless of what status we have, we're called to do that. And this is important because God initiates everything in regards to our salvation. Do you understand that? And so we've got to get away from anyone who is teaching you that you have to work really hard. As I said, early in the show, we're not Marines. With all due respect to the Marine Corps, and I was Navy, that's why I say that. With all respect to the Marine Corps, yeah, the Marines are very important, very powerful, but that's as a defense system for our country. They're not showing you the path to heaven. That's a different story. They follow the same path we do, and those Marines who are seeking the same thing we are, have to be people of prayer too. So do you understand that? So keep that in mind. This whole thing is God initiates, we respond, as we see in the story of the Immaculate Conception. And in doing so, we've got to be people of prayer and trust that the Lord is constantly calling us to draw closer to him. We're going to talk more tomorrow. In the meantime, have yourself a blessed day. We'll see you then. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. Remember, when you're looking for a place to attend Mass, and if you don't already attend Mass at your local parish, come to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located at 43 Holton Street in Allston, just a few blocks up from Soldiers Field Road. And you can check us out, come to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass, and come to experience our Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.